This is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunker, an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey, and Scotty's one-bedroom apartment somewhere in Beverly Hills, California, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Nearly 800,000 downloads and counting. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Scotty. Hello, Scotty.
Hello, sir. How's it going?
I was doing pretty good. Maybe around.
I was doing good for half of this afternoon over here, and then the second half, not so much. Yeah, we didn't get the New Year's Eve gift that we were all hoping for with the second half of a back-to-back win, but alas, we got to talk about it here. Game number 35 on the road up there in Boston against the big bad Bruins. Hello to everyone on YouTube Live, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, wherever the hell you happen to be listening to Devils After Dark on the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. Vitek Vanacek in goal against Olmark. Again, this is the second half of a back-to-back for the Devils, which we know they've struggled on, going 1-5-1. Spoiler alert, 1-6-1. No changes to the lineup. Means our buddy Brendan Smith is still in there. Will the Devils have a comeback today? Spoiler alert, they don't. And the Road Warriors. We know the Devils have played very well on the road as opposed to home this year. So we see how they will make out. And congratulations to Timo Meier. More on him a little later. But he started his 500th career NHL game. So, you know, what is going on here? We already know some of that stuff. Hey, Paul. Hey, Daryl. Hey, Selecta. Insane Pollock. Ted. Let's talk about it. Because this game started off really, really well. You know, the Devils came out. They had some good jump. Not what we're used to seeing from this team on the second half of a back-to-back. But it started out with a nice little tic-tac-toe power play goal, which is something the Devils have struggled on in recent weeks. We know going into last night's game, they were 2 for 26. They got 2 power play goals last night, and they get another one tonight. This time, it's the captain, Nico Hischier, coming through with his 8th goal of the season. PPG at 6:03 of the first period, and this literally took the Devils like 5 to 10 seconds to score on this power play. They get the face-off in the offensive zone, of course. Nico Hischier wins that face-off, all right, and then Jack Hughes touches the puck back to his brother Luke at the point, who then passes it right back to Jack. He kind of walks in a little bit, throws a pass right down to Tyler Toffoli on the goal line, who then puts it right over to Nico Hischier, who's parked in the slot, dead center. He puts it home, top shelf, nasty shot, past. You can't even say the glove of Olmark here. This was such a nasty shot and was so fast that Olmark didn't even have time to get the glove hand up. He literally just had the opportunity to give a shoulder shrug at it, but the puck was right over. That should tell you how fast this play took place for this PPG power play goal. Tasting, passing, and making that first chance count. So maybe this is the start of this Devils power play heating up. We know it was such an important part of the team in the very beginning of the season. It's cooled off, but now maybe getting some new looks, maybe some new plays on that power play, and hopefully we'll see some more of these goals going in there. But the Devils had some jump, in this first period. Something we're not used to seeing at all. Forget the fact that it's, the second game of a back-to-back, but we've seen this Devils struggle mightily in the first period, just being able to come out and be ready for these games. After that, we had Pavel Zacha, our old friend, trying to get a break after Jack Hughes. Another couple turnovers again in this game. Jack had a turnover and a pass back to Luke. Luke and Marino hustling back to get on that back check. And I believe it was Luke that was able to catch up and then kind of swing his stick around and hit the puck, slap it a bit, and move Pavel Zacha over to the one side. And so he's not able to get a great shot on net. Vitek Vanacek there for the save. So good on John Marino and Luke for that back check over there. Holtzy was making some good plays. Vanacek had a nice poke on Pasta down low. Jack had that's right. He had another dangerous play, a backhand pass. He likes to do those backhand passes to Luke or whoever's on the defense at that time. But it's a good thing he put some barbecue sauce on this one because it was a backhand pass and one of the Bruins got a stick on it and partially deflected it. If it didn't have that extra oomph, that was turning into a breakaway for the Bruins right then and there. So Jack has got to clean those up. After that, the Devils got pinned in there. They had about a 2-minute shift for the 5 guys on the ice. Vanacek I'm not sure if he actually made the save or if this puck went off the post, but he was sliding across. It looked like he might have got it with his skate stretched out, and he ended up losing his stick for a little bit in this sequence. Simone Nemec ended up clearing a puck that was right on the goal line over there. So the Devils escape from that one. Pasta, then he tripped up Jack Hughes as Jack was trying to exit out of the zone. Devils get the power play, and it's going to roll over into the second period. So the Bruins end up killing this off. Not really, nothing too exciting on that power play, but just a few seconds after it expires, Luke, you do not underestimate. You do not. You underestimate my power. I was going to say with the dark side, but, we're going to say he's a good guy because he's Luke, so he's got to be a Skywalker. So the force is strong with this young defenseman on the Devils. Luke Hughes gets his 7th goal of the season, and this was really not a dangerous-looking play at all. I don't think any Devils fan watching this game was like, oh, here comes a goal. Devils were basically in the midst of a change, and Luke was just bringing the puck into the zone. He's coming up the wing, and from about maybe like the top of the face-off circle, he's got Charlie Coyle kind of like lined perfectly up as a screen on Ullmark, and he just lets a wrister go. And that bad boy went high over the glove again of Ullmark and into the net for his 7th goal of the season. Assists going to Foley and Bratt. And Jack and Jesper now tied for the team lead, both with 29 assists on the season. Jack, of course, getting an assist on Nico's goal in the first period. And Toffoli, 2 points tonight. He gets an assist on the first and an assist on the Luke goal here in the second to make it 2-0 Devils at 1:11 of the second period. And that is an even strength goal. And by the way, that is Luke Hughes' 7th goal, which is leading all rookie defensemen in goals. I think he's up by 3 or 4. I think up by 3. And he's also got 21 total points on the season, which puts him, I believe, 4th amongst all rookies. So don't be counting Luke out for a possible Calder candidate there at the end of the year. So Devils up 2-0, and, the Boston crowd is not into this game at all. And I'm starting to think like, wow, Devils are playing really good. This is the way they should always play in the second half of back-to-backs. But then things kind of changed a little bit. It started with Ullmark giving Tyler Toffoli a shot in the back with his stick. Didn't like seeing that. Toffoli goes to the bench and down the tunnel, and you're thinking, oh, Lord. Great. Here we go. Just when we thought we were getting healthy, they pull us back in to the injuries. Sorry, I was watching The Godfather last night. Godfather 1, not Godfather 3, which is where the, pulling back in comes from right there. But just when we thought we were getting healthy, shot to the back. And I mean, it was kind of a cheap shot. So, where's the response? How many times have we seen this so far this year with this Devil team taking some shots and no responses? And we've talked so much about needing goaltending, shoring up the defense. How about a little more physicality up front? Maybe it'd be different if Nolan Foote was here, not injured. Don't know. Can't say for sure. Curtis Lazar is now out of the lineup. Thomas Noshik is out of the lineup. Nate Bastian really hasn't done too much of anything so far this year. Not going to expect too much from Chris Tierney. Need some physicality. Someone's got to respond to these plays. Toffoli, luckily, does come back. Okay, he doesn't stay out. We'll talk about another person who went off and then didn't return. But this is where the game turned around. And the Bruins either woke up or the Devils went to sleep. I don't know how you want to look at it. Could be a combination of both over here. But with the Devils up 2-0, the Bruins begin their streak of scoring 5 straight goals in this game. And the first one comes with Marchand causing a turnover. Vitek Vanacek trying to play the puck behind the net. Marchand gets in there, causes a turnover. Eventually, DeBrusque gets it. He's able to walk right in, almost on a quick one-on-one situation over there. Beats Vitek Vanacek. Kind of a scrambly play, but still. 2-1 Bruins. Now, all of a sudden, you start to hear the Boston faithful getting into it. Now, all of a sudden, the Bruins are starting to tilt the ice a little bit. You see their forecheck turned into high gear. So again, is this the Bruins just starting real slow? Or is this the Devils starting to run out of gas? Devils get pinned in again. The DeBrusque goal was at 5:35 of the second period. Then they score again at 12:51. This time it's Pasternak getting his 21st of the season here. And the Devils getting pinned in again. And he had one of those hard pass shots, from Carlo right onto goal. And Pasta is kind of streaking in there. And Marino is on him. And Marino gets his stick on this pass. And Vanacek also looks like he got a piece of it as well. But the puck just ends up sitting right there in the crease. And Pasta's able to swipe it into the net, like we said, for his 21st of the season at 12:51. Okay, game's tied up. Now the crowd is rocking. Oh boy. What can happen next? Oh, I know. Kevin Ball can take a holding penalty and put the Bruins on the power play. Not where we want to be. And again, the Bruins get a goal at 15:39. So in about 3 minutes later? Just less than 3 minutes later, they go up 3-2. Bruins moving the puck up the ice. Pasta moves in. Brendan Smith is basically, you know me, I pick on chicken tendies a little bit. Not a little bit, probably a lot. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution, is to only be positive about Brendan Smith's play out there. But this one you can't really fault him on, because the Devils were in a change and the Bruins just moved it right up the ice. And Brendan Smith was kind of left back there in almost like a 3-on-1 situation. You saw the Devils forwards and John Marino trying to get on and chug back, to get into position, but the Bruins were already on their way. Pasta's using his speed. He's already behind Brendan Smith at this point, and he moves right in, and he goes to a slick little backhand, almost a la how our boy Chicken Tendies Brendan Smith did yesterday on his breakaway. He went to the forehand on this one. Pasta goes to the backhand. It also maybe was moving in a little bit faster motion than Brendan Smith. But hey, Brendan, still love you, buddy. That was a great play yesterday. Remember, I'm going to be positive. New Year's resolution. But Pasta goes in, and he makes this move to the backhand. Vitek goes down. He's got the legs, out in the V. He's on his stomach, trying to stretch out and cover, but he can't. Pasta puts the backhand right around there. 3-2. Boston Bruins, a PPG for them. That's Pasta's 22nd of the year. And then after that, what time was this? At 17:14. So not even 2 minutes after that, we get a quick wrister from Kevin Shattenkirk, just above the dot. Again, much like the Luke Hughes one didn't look like a dangerous play, this one from Shattenkirk didn't look like a dangerous play either. Kind of a weak goal, and you can see in the second period, the first period, Vitek Vanacek looked very, very steady. Second period, he started looking pretty shaky, scrambling around, kind of flopping, The rebound started to sit out there for everybody. Is kind of your typical feel of the usual second game of a back-to-back for the New Jersey Devils. So 4-2 Boston Bruins. Are the Devils out of gas? I'm not really sure. I think it's a little combo of the second half Blues, second game of the back-to-back Blues, and also Boston being rested and maybe just didn't have their legs in the first period. And then all of a sudden they got that jump just as the Devils were losing a little bit of theirs. So a little bit of bad luck on some of these goals. Some of them I think the goaltender might want back, especially the last two. And I won't give it to him on the Pasta breakaway because Pasta's nasty. But that one that was just sitting there in the crease, I'm sure Vitek wished he could have just got a glove on it to freeze it before it got swiped into the net. But either way, we're going into the third period, 4-2. And, maybe the Devils were going to have some jump here. We're going to see how they come out. And it was Jack Hughes right off the bat in the third period. Starts in with a rush forward. He gets a good backhand opportunity, but Olmark was able to make the save on it. And, will the comeback kids be sparked? Unfortunately, not tonight. Not tonight. Who gets the goal? Shattenkirk gets another goal there at 16:49. Another power play goal at the end of the game to make it 5-2. Really kind of a in neutral type of third period. Kind of looked like the Devils had almost, said, let's wrap this up. And the Bruins kind of the same way, where there wasn't really a whole ton of action going on in the third period. There were a couple chances here and there, don't get me wrong. These are professionals. But overall, you can see that both teams kind of took it a gear down a little bit. So a little disappointing. And to make matters even worse, we find out that Timo Meier does not come out for the third period. He went over the top of someone I can't remember who it was on the Bruins. He went over the top and his legs kind of flared up, like a little scorpion style, and it just looked awkward. And it just looked primed for a pulled muscle or some sort of hyperextension or something like that. And he gets up, because they showed the replay a couple times, Dano and Captain Bill Spaulding, and you could just see he looks uncomfortable. And he does skate off the ice, but he immediately kind of makes the signal like, I'm going down the tunnel. So we got to wait and see some news on Timo Meier. Someone, luckily we got Toffoli back, but Timo Meier is someone we know who has struggled all year, trying to recover from this injury. Let us just hope for a happy 2024 and that Timo didn't re-aggravate that injury again that slowed him down so much, because we were just starting to see the Timo Meier that we signed to this massive contract in the offseason. For this last week and a half, 2 weeks. We've seen such an uptick in his play. Let us hope that he did not re-aggravate that injury and that 2024 take a couple days off, get a little rest, and they can come back out strong when they play the Washington Capitals next week. Shots on goal for the Devils, 9-6-18 for a total of 33. Bruins, 13-11-7 for a total of 31. The Bruins had 14 block shots. The Devils had 13. A lot of hitting in this game. I will say the Devils did bring some physicality, but just not at those times when maybe us fans were really hoping to see it. They were out hit by the Bruins, 36-27. So I mean, they still got some hits in there. Power play, Devils were 1 for 2. The Bruins were 2 for 2. So we've seen the penalty kill be actually a really strong point of this team. Not today. It didn't work out for the Devils tonight. They get scored on in both of the Bruins power plays, but they did get one themselves, 1 for 2. So past 2 games, 3 power play goals. That's good. Like that sign. But tonight just was a bad one for the penalty kill. What can you do? Face-offs, the Devils dominated, 37 wins to the Bruins 14. Holy hell. Did they crush them? But in the long run, face-offs aren't what really matters. It's the score on the board, which the Bruins had decidedly in their favor, 5-2, as the Devils wrap up the 2023 calendar year, going 1-6-1 in the second half of a back-to-back. So let's see what you were all talking about on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Instagram, Twitch, wherever you are, happen to be listening right now on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. And let's check in with the king of the football calls himself, Sam, by God, woo. And let's see what he has to say about this game today.
Well, Scotty, if anybody heard me on Game Day Live, I said the Devils needed to come out strong. Bruins have been resting for a while, since last Tuesday. Devils coming from the second half of a back-to-back. They needed to get the lead. They certainly did. 1-0 lead early on in the first period. You go into intermission, you get a 2-0 lead. Luke Hughes' goal, you're looking pretty good. But here's where the problem came. The Boston Bruins made the adjustments. They realized we can't outskate the Devils. We can't outskill the Devils, but we can outbully the Devils. So it's just, in the group text, Scotty, the Olmark, taking out Toffoli for that few minutes there. But everybody got aggressive on the Bruins. The big bad Boston Bruins, like good teams do, they like to change the narrative if you're down 2-0. They went out and fought for it. And the Devils' response, and Danico even said this on the broadcast, these goals were just a little bit too easy. And the Devils didn't respond back. If you're going to get punched in the mouth, you punch back. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. The Devils did nothing to change the narrative. Now, when it was 2-2, at that point, if I were Lindy Ruff, I would have called a timeout. Not only to settle the team out, but to chew them out and saying, look, you're giving this game away. You had this game. You had control of this game, but you gave it back to them because they took it from you. And you couldn't stop the bleeding at that point. But you didn't call a timeout. Then it's 3-2 Bruins. 4-2 Bruins. 4 unanswered goals in a span of 12 minutes? 13 minutes? I don't even know how.
Well, and in the end, it was 5 unanswered goals. So
yeah, in the end, but the damage was already done at that point. And and everything started out well, but the Devils didn't make any adjustments. And when the goaltender, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but getting a little aggressive, Olmark on Toffoli, enough for him to leave the game for a couple minutes. To me, Scotty, they're all on the same page. They know this is BS. We got to fight our way back in. We've seen the Bruins do this in the past where, if you remember a couple of years ago when, for whatever reason, Mackenzie Blackwood and the Devils during COVID shortened season, they actually dominated the Bruins. And what would the Bruins do? You know what they did to break the trend? They just started fighting people. They started fighting the Devils, and the Devils never push back. They never push back, and that's a serious problem. It has to be a team effort. It's not just getting a Tom Wilson and all of a sudden, it magically will happen. No, if you get a 2-0 lead, you should expect retribution. And you've got to punch back. And I'm saying figuratively speaking. I'm not saying going out there dropping the gloves. So the Devils didn't do that. And Boston took over slowly but surely with the home crowd. The momentum changed. And there was nothing the Devils can do because the Boston Bruins are a damn good team. Well coached. They've got a goalie tandem like no other right now in the league. And they just willed their way and say, "Look, okay, you had fun for about a half a game. All right, we're just gonna knock you down,
change the narrative. Yeah, we're gonna change the narrative. We're gonna start playing even more physically. Yeah, because the Devils had some. I mean, you heard Dano and Bill talking about it. The Devils were playing a little bit more physical in that first period, and all of a sudden the Bruins just amped everything up in the second, and it started with Marchand behind the net, creating that turnover on Vitek Vanacek. And then all of a sudden, he's looking shaky. And I don't know what it is, man. It's obviously not enough stuff to make a decision on. Not enough research to make a decision on here. But the way the Devils played in front of Nico Daws yesterday compared to how they played in front of Vitek Vanacek today was very different. And this could be just the back-to-back, because we know they stink in the second half of these back-to-backs. But they looked like two different teams after a while. They started out, and they just went right out of gas. But sloppy play after that.
I don't know if they're intimidated. And I'll do this for Beer Baron. He wanted us to read that tweet on air from Daniel Amola. He says, Vitek Vanacek stopped minus 2.36 goals saved above expected in this contest. That brings him to negative 11 on the season. Only Ilya Samsonov, negative 13.3 is worse. I don't know what that means. You don't need to throw numbers at me to say that Vitek did not play very well.
We know exactly what it means. It means he lets in bad goals, and that has to do, and you can see that too in the first period. They were looking better, but in the second period he started giving up those juicy rebounds again like he usually does, and that's the problem with it. We know he's going to be a gamer. He's going to go out there and he's going to try, he's going to give it his all, but is he a number one goalie? I don't think so.
Well, Scotty, Vitek is his worst enemy. Something tells me he just overthinks it a little bit. And he made one little mistake behind the net, playing the puck. And then suddenly he just unraveled.
Yeah.
And I mean, he tried to fight through it. I'll give him credit. He really tried to fight through it.
He tries. He's a gamer.
He lost his stick, 15 times?
When I saw the Hasek flopping starting, it's just like, oh boy, here we go. Because unfortunately, Vitek Vanacek is not Dominik Hasek, and there are very few goalies that can get away with doing that. I don't think Vitek is one of them, but yeah, it didn't look good. And I mean, I see Ronaldo and a few others, talking about this. Tom, I don't know, where the hell is Nolan Foote? I don't know what his injury status is and what's going on with him, but if he is not injured, wouldn't you want to give him a shot over Nate Bastian right now, who has just been invisible? He's been invisible on the ice. Like, Nate, come on. I know you're not going to be putting in 25 goals, but you got to bring some more of that physical play that we just don't
He
see
has
it
no
all.
he has no beef. It's almost like he's like,
What happened? What
yeah,
happened? He used
just
to
went
have beef.
downhill. Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be beef. The BMW line. They were so, like it couldn't have been all Miles Wood. I know Nate Bastian used to play with a lot more physicality. I don't know if he's maybe hurt too, and it's just one of those things that we don't know about.
He
And then at the end of the season,
slow out there.
he looks slow.
Yeah.
He's not like engaging in the physical side, and we need him to do that as that winger on that fourth line. Listen, you're going to have Holtzy down there, but he's there to create offense. He's to give you that depth scoring down there. And, you can only expect so much from Chris Tierney, okay? Yeah. As soon as Curtis Lazar gets healthy, we know Tierney's back out of the lineup, okay? Yeah. He is what he is. He's an extra player. We get it. But Nate Bastian, you right now have a regular spot on this team. And your role is just glaringly missed this year. And now if Timo Meier, oh man, please tell me that he is not, I don't know if anyone saw maybe any of the post game or something. Maybe Erica had an update on him, or Bryce or something like that. Please feel free to post it in the chats. But if Timo, who we just saw getting healthy, if he goes down as well, that's more physicality just out of this lineup. And it sucks too, because that MX3 line was playing so good together. It's just tough. This was a tough game to watch as a fan for the loss, but just in general, seeing the lack of aggression in the right times, and seeing Timo Meier not come back out. I think it was about 5 minutes into the period when Bill and Dano were like, hang on, Holtzy is playing with McLeod and Mercer. What's going on here? And then we all found out about Timo. It's tough, man. It's real tough. But we need some people to step up more on that physical side. This is like 2 or 3 years ago when we were like, why is Jesper Bratt getting into fights in the corners? I know we joke and call him Bratt the Brutalizer. Mel, I agree. Even though Ryan Graves wasn't someone who was going to drop the gloves, he still could really take a hit, and he could still also really give a hit. And he was blocking shots like none other last year. Again, he made a huge shot block yesterday. Do we want Jesper Bratt really sticking those ankles and knees out there to block shots from the point? I know I don't. I want Jesper Bratt to save those ankles and knees for the speed. Like yesterday when he flew up the boards and created that odd man rush. Boom! He was just right past the defense. So I don't know. Lindy's got to look at this team. This one was that's a stupid name for Bratt. Well, I don't think so. And I'm the host, so there's that. He's Bratt the Brutalizer. Because of all the Devils, he's probably the one that plays with as much physicality. Seen Jesper Bratt lay some dudes out. See Jesper Bratt mucking it up in the corners. That's what we need, but from different guys on this team. Any word on Timo, Sam? You're muted.
No, but I pulled out an old track.
Gone when you wake in the morning, gone when you find that he isn't skating, gone. Timo Meier was his name. He was loved and we all will miss him.
Sorry, that was a little random there.
That's all right. But this team's they gotta look at this, and Fitzy's really gotta look at the makeup as well. What the hell's going on with Nolan Foote? This goaltending situation. I mean, I want to see more. I think every Devils fan wants to see more of Nico Dawes.
Yeah.
And they got to shore up the defense. I'm not sure. Why the hell was Colin Miller not in there tonight? I really don't know.
Well,
I feel like when he's played,
he's hurt.
I don't know. I feel like when he's played, he's been good. He came back, and now he's back out. And then, listen, I know I've had my issues with Brendan Smith when he's on defense, but I really like what he brings to the team on that wing, on that fourth line. Because he can be a real physical presence up there. And he doesn't have to worry about, listen, Brendan's right now, he's the most experienced defenseman we have on the team. Without Dougie Hamilton, Brendan Smith is the next guy up with the amount of experience on the defensive side.
He should just cherry pick as a winger.
As a winger, yeah. I mean, but he's gonna get burned speed wise. Unfortunately, at his age, with some of these guys are going to play against on defense, he's going to get burned, and that's just the way it is. But on the wing, he doesn't have that, those issues as much, and he brings some more of that physicality that this team is definitely missing.
I'd rather have Brendan Smith on wing than Bastian at this point, because I have not seen anything from Bastian that resembles any kind of, I don't know, like an enforcer or playing physicality. It almost seems like he's lost out there.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Maybe he just fit well with Miles Wood and McLeod, and now that McLeod is got promoted,
moved up, yeah,
now he's kind of lost, But if you want to play in the NHL, you can't just rely on certain teammates. You got to figure it out. And I think Alexander Holtz on the fourth line is, I think he's doing all right. When Lazar comes back, I think things will be a little bit better. But, Bastian, you know what? He's got to step up his game. He signed a 2-year contract during the offseason. He really wanted to be here. I believe that. But you know what? You got to pay the price. You got to get in the goalie's face. Remember what he did on the power play a couple years ago. He just parked up front, and he was
our man in front. Yeah. We
need
almost
that
like
a specialist. Back. I mean,
it could be something where we find out he's been playing through an injury or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
but this is the NHL. You can't. That's on a team that is expected to make a run into the playoffs. This is a team that you're going to have to face. A team like the Bruins. Especially if the Devils get in here on one of these lower seeds, this is who they're going to be facing in the first round. So be prepared, fellas. You got to be able to match what the other teams are bringing like that. And the Devils, today, they came up short. And again, maybe it's just the second half of the back-to-back blues, which we know the Devils struggle from. So we'll see how they recoup over this holiday break. Then they got to play the Capitals. This will be a big game points wise, because we know we're neck and neck with the Caps right now. And then the Devils go right back into another back-to-back situation on Friday and Saturday again. Is it fair? No, I don't really think so. I don't know why the Devils have 16 back-to-backs. But unfortunately, it is what it is. And they got to find a way to. Well, we all know that. We know that. We know the officials hate us, who, by the way, didn't call anything on Olmark. I got to give a shout to Beer Baron for throwing that out there in our group text as well. Olmark's shot right on the back at Toffoli, again, was right as an official was skating by. So in clear view, and of course, yeah.
Well, I hope this will.
Maybe the refs need some new pairs of these, Sam Wu. Maybe they need some new pairs of these.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to up that prescription.
By the way, I'm hoping on January 6th, second half of a back-to-back, Hughes Bowl 2. If you haven't heard already, at American Whiskey, not only are we having Rangers suck fortune cookie night to celebrate my cultural heritage. But we're bringing the Polish hammer, Krzysztof Olawa. Yes, Krzysztof Olawa. January 6th at American Whiskey, Game Day Live. Because we talk about beef. We talk about beefalytics. We talk about big guys. We brought a big guy. Former New Jersey Devil, number 29, Krzysztof Olawa. He's not a former tough guy. He's still a tough guy. Like, honestly.
He's still a tough guy.
I told Frank, don't worry about security on the 6th.
No need for security on the 6th.
This guy will take care of it for us. And then some.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about it there.
Yeah.
Because Krzysztof will be there to take care of things for us. Maybe that's what they need, a little locker room speech. Maybe they need us, Scott Stevens in there for a practice and running some guys into the boards and toughen them up a little bit.
I wish the Devils had some kind of marketing gimmick where you get to coach the team for one practice. I would love to win that.
You get to coach for a practice? Oh,
yeah. Oh, I would totally.
I'm sure that would go over real well.
I would totally not really rip into them.
Drills?
No, I wouldn't rip into them. I would have them totally fired up. Like, no, because you know what? They need.
Sign Olawa. Paul saying sign Olawa now.
Hey, the guy's in great shape. Have you ever seen Krzysztof Olawa? He does like.
He still is in good shape. He really is.
I mean, I'm scared of him. I mean, it's like when he shakes your hand.
Who wouldn't be scared of him? Yeah, he crushes your hand if he shakes it, and
tears the rotator cuff. He tears the rotator cuff while he's at it. It's like, Sam, you're not very strong. I'll go light on you, and then I have like a bruised arm for like 4 days. Well, thanks, Krzysztof. Yeah,
we need some of that toughness. We really do, and I'm sure all the other guys would appreciate it as well. The Jack Hugheses, the Jesper Bratts, the Luke Hugheses, even like the Dawson Mercers and stuff like that. And the Nico Hischier, who's been targeted how many times? What was it last year? It was like we had Thomas Tatar was like sticking, like, come on. Where's some of these like bigger guys that we have?
What about Charlie Coyle hustling back and taking one for the team and then getting hurt as he's crashing into his old goaltender, but trying to back check,
back check.
Yeah. That's what the Devils need. Like, look at Marchand. He did. If you watch the replay of the game, I know it's kind of tough. Watch Marchand in the first period and watch Marchand in the second period. The little annoying things that he would do during the game, away from the play. Again, trying to change the narrative, trying to adjust. The Bruins did that, and they feasted on the Devils because the Devils just didn't react in time, and wham, bam, it's 4-2.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
David Bowie. JP still calling for Gudas. I mean, it feels like that's the type of someone that we need. Maybe after the new year, maybe we might see, I don't know, maybe Nolan Foote. I got to look to see what's up with him. I really don't know. Last I heard, he was injured. Who else is down there at the AHL? Maybe get a Graham Clark.
I wouldn't mind getting him to play a couple games, see what he can do. I think he deserves it.
There's a couple guys that maybe we'll get a call up after the new year and see what happens. But man, that spot that Nate Bastian is in right now is severely lacking. And without Curtis Lazar here and Thomas Nosek, who we know can bring some physicality as well, man, it's definitely lacking on this team.
Gudas would be a perfect player to bring in. You know, that will definitely set the tone. Is he enough to get the rest of the team to play like that? Because there are some players like Claude Lemieux, you know, when he's acting up, everybody's acting up.
Right.
You know, so, you know, that I don't know if that's entirely the answer, but I would love to have Gudas on the team. That's a great point. Whoever made that out on the YouTube.
I think that's our man JP.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is a disappointing loss here, just in the sense of, you know, and we flipped with the Capitals, as they have one game in hand on us. So we both have 40 points, but now the Devils are outside of that wild card, and we play the Caps next week. So everyone is still really close here, though. You know, the Islanders are first wild card with 43 points. You got Philly and Carolina with 43, 44. You know, the Rangers and the Bruins are kind of ahead of everyone else, but Toronto's only got 41 points. The Panthers got 46, you know, with 36 games played. So, yeah, and Carolina's also got 37 games played, so the Devils have 2 games in hand on them. But yeah, they gotta straighten some of these things out. There's just some glaring holes. Very excited to see Nico Daws back in net. Kind of want to give him a run to see how he does here. Because I don't know if it's just me, if it's just that first game as opposed to the second game of a back-to-back, but the Devils just looked like they played with so much more confidence with Nico Daws back there yesterday. And sometimes that's what goaltenders give their teams. Yeah. We know Akira Schmid did that last year in the playoff run for the Devils. So we'll see. Go ahead.
Vanacek plays very pessimistic, where Schmid was kind of calm and cool, and Dawes just played like he was confident. You know, I mean, it's maybe a personality thing. I don't know, but you know, when Marty Brodeur played, I mean, the guy was so nonchalant. But when the puck was coming at him, Marty Brodeur was very focused. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. Like he'd be like goofing around, happy-go-lucky, and then he would go a 5-minute stretch of just being intense, laser focused on stopping that puck, and then he goes back to being happy-go-lucky Marty again. So, you know, but it seems like Dawes has that demeanor that the team resonates with. I mean, we saw that 2 years ago when the emergency call-ups came, that Dawes seemed like, you know, even back in those days, was his first professional season or second professional season, he's like, not a problem. I got this, guys. I'll do my best. And he played very well. And he got time in the minors before his injury. So remember that.
Swamp Fox says it's not Vanacek, it's his stick that keeps jumping out of his hands all the time.
You know what? Then tape his stick into his glove.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that.
We need to get some of that stickum and get it on the inside of his catching glove as well.
Yeah.
I
am going to send Vitek Vanacek pine tar as well after this.
Yeah, let's get him some pine tar. I think someone accidentally put Pam spray in his stickum instead. I think that's what happened.
It was probably Olmark, you know, when he walked by. You know? Or what's that thing that baseball players were using that was banned? That substance that was like some kind of sticky. I forgot what it was called. Yeah, where it's on your finger and it increases your spin rate. That's what. Yeah, that's what Vanacek needs at this point.
We need to send that to him.
Yeah.
Late Christmas present for VTech over there. Well, either way, this was a disappointing game. You know, let's try not to let it ruin our Happy New Year, because the Devils will be back at it. They're still, you know, it's not like they're dead in the water or something like that. They're still right in the thick of this. They have some time to clean this up. Fitzy needs to be looking to possibly make some moves, and I think he's already looked internally with Nico Dawes. Maybe he needs to look internally for some more beef analytics to get out there on the ice to maybe make a little difference and play a little more physical and respond to some of these bigger teams.
Ramona asks, what's wrong with Marino? I think Marino is just doing too much. At times where if his partner is caught off position and Marino's just doing too much, I think he's overthinking the game. What Marino needs to do is simplify his game. I think Paul Marino would agree. He needs to simplify his game a little bit because there are times where you're watching the replay. It's like, John, what are you thinking here? Just tie the guy's stick up. Like, that goal that was given up, one of the easier goals where, you got where Marino tried to play the puck behind Vanacek and the Bruins player, poked it in. Like, you got to tie the guy up front of the crease. Tie him up,
I think also people forget that John, in seeing that graphic from before as well about Devils, defensemen with the games played, Marino's got less games played than Siegenthaler.
Yeah.
Marino's only at like 280 played.
Yep.
I think a lot of us forget
how young they
that
are.
He's not. Yeah, that he's not like, a 32, 33, 34-year-old player who's got like 1,000 games under his belt,
Yeah.
He's still young and learning, and he takes on a lot of responsibility. So, and he's also been tasked with playing with two very inexperienced defensemen in Kevin Ball and Luke Hughes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put too much on John. I know sometimes I get on Siegs a little bit, but I try not to get on him as much either because he's also still a young guy.
Daryl says Marino doesn't seem as confident as he was last year. I think he's just more frustrated. I'm sure John, believes
playing with Ryan Graves as opposed to playing with Ball or Luke is a really big difference. Let's just say
Luke takes a lot of risks. So you got to back him up, and the forward that's coming back to cover that point, John has to make sure, that there's a lot going on there. I'm all about the defenseman pinching in, but the responsibility lies with John Marino. So again, and then when Dougie Hamilton went down, I mean, a lot of the leadership role on that blue line fell on John Marino's lap in a lot of ways, so
yeah,
for a guy that's only played 200 something games in his career so far, I think he's holding his own right now. I mean, there's a lot of things he could do better, but I wouldn't say that, let's not get doom and gloom here. This whole thing is a process. The thing about last season was so historical, so special, but it's not sustainable. Teams evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Severson and Graves are gone. Okay, that's 1/3 of your pairings, and you're putting in two rookies, which Simon Nemitz and Luke Hughes are playing magnificent. We're just seeing a scratch of the surface, what the potential is. But Marino, he's got a lot going on. I won't worry about it. I think where I'm worried about is a couple things. Players getting caught out of position and not protecting the goaltender. They simply are not. And how many times, I mean, Boston just walked in and just, did whatever they wanted after being down 2-0. Devils didn't respond.
Yep. And I see what you guys are saying here. And I think Siegs is in a very similar situation as Marino. where, Siegs was used to playing with Dougie Hamilton. Now he's playing with Simone Nemec, who we know there's great potential for, but is he ready to be an NHL caliber defenseman? Maybe not just yet. He's kind of learning on the job, much like Luke is. And from Siegs going from, Dougie, who we know has had his defensive lapses before, but obviously Dougie Hamilton is the most experienced defenseman the Devils have. Ryan Graves was solid as hell.
Yeah. And big.
Marino always knew exactly where Ryan Graves was going to be. Ryan Graves, he at times he turned on his offense, but he preferred to just play defense and grind it out. And Luke is an offensive first type of defenseman. And who was it that just said that? Was it Swamp or was it Greg over here? Swamp. Yeah. Luke he needs to grow a little bit. He's only 19 years old. He's going to get bigger. He's going to fill out, but it's going to take some time. He's a kid.
Maybe I'll have a second growth spurt, and suddenly he's that big defenseman we always wanted. 6'7", 260.
I mean, he needs to put the muscle back on and everything, and put the muscle on. Much like we saw Jackie Boy when he first came in, and he had those off seasons there in the summer, and he started putting the muscle on.
And that's where Brendan Smith comes in. He could serve them chicken tenders.
And he could serve them chicken tendies.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I think Fitzy's got to really, really start looking into making something happen here. I like the way Nico Dawes looks, but, Vanacek, he looks very, very shaky.
Yeah.
The defense, are you just going to live with it, or are you going to make a trade for someone like a Noah Hannafin, who could be someone that you lock up long-term on that blue line? Are you going to bring up someone to maybe get a little bit more physical? Because right now, hate to say it, because, I really do like him, but Nate Bastian is he's not scoring. He's not doing too much defensively, and he's not providing a physical force.
Yeah.
And no, I know some people have been saying this. I do not think Alexander Holtz should be traded at all.
Or Seamus Casey. I think we got to let this team grow. I mean, Lindy even said this before the season started, that he was nervous about having two rookies on the blue line. And right now he's forced to have them.
Started the season. Yeah, he's forced. That's why Nemec was down there at the AHL. But the injury to Dougie has forced their hand. And it's not like Nemec has played horrible. Don't forget, he's playing top line minutes over here.
Yeah.
He's been put into a role that he is definitely not 100% ready for.
You know what?
So he's going to make mistakes. Luke is going to make mistakes.
You know what Vanacek
Kevin Ball is going to make mistakes. What's that?
You know what Vanacek reminds me of? If you want to do a baseball analogy, he's got a high ERA, but somehow he gets the wins. There's some pitchers that just have a 4.90 ERA, but somehow they're 12-4.
They get all the run support.
Yeah, they get all the run support. So I don't know what to make. And then you've got the Jacob deGrom goaltenders of the world, where they stop 60 shots on goal, but they lose in overtime.
They lose 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I seen that. And Ted, I do think that this team has a shot at the playoffs. 100%.
Yeah, they definitely.
They're not out.
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna squeak in at the last week on that last spot.
I think it'll be. Yeah, I think it'll be tight. It won't be like last year where we got it wrapped up, a couple weeks in advance. And, we're playing for most points ever in a franchise season, in our franchise, season ever. But I still 100% think that they can sneak into the playoffs here as a lower seed. It's just going to be really, really tight because there's a lot of parity, especially over here in the Metro. There's a lot of parity. This Eastern Conference is tough.
Yeah.
And you look at those standings, everyone is within a couple points of each other. 1, 2, or 3 game losing streak and you're out. And then vice versa the other way. You win 3 or 4 in a row, poop, you're going to jump right back up. So the Devils they got to get that consistency. They got to figure out something with goaltending. And if you get a little bit more solid goaltending, your defense starts playing a little bit more confident. We've seen that they can do it in very limited stretches, but it is possible with this team. But you're going to get mistakes. With Luke, Ball, and Nemec, they're all young. They're all still learning. They're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't count out Vanacek yet. I know a lot of people. I mean, I'm getting torched on Twitter right as we speak about Vanacek and Ruff. But look, you lost to the Boston Bruins here. It's not like you lost to San Jose where we were all pissed. Like
right.
You lost to the Boston Bruins on the second half of a back-to-back, and this is kind of a pre-New Year's Eve game. Whatever. January 3rd, they'll be down in Washington playing the Capitals, and you got 3 games in 4 days. They've got to continue the good play, and they'll be on the road to start off on the road. They're going to get a couple practices in. They can work on some of their special teams. They can work on certain things. But Ramona says, but Sam, we can beat Boston. Of course you can beat Boston.
We can if we play we got to play a full 60 minutes.
Exactly.
And you know that, Ramona. We've talked about that so many times, especially the past few years with this team where they would play like 1 period out of the 3. That's kind of what they did tonight. And again, we know they suck. They're 1-6-1 in the second half of a back-to-back. So, but we still have 8 more of these. So they got to figure something out. They can't be going 1-14-1 in all 16, of these back-to-backs.
I have an idea what they can do. Play the first game, win that, then send everybody down to Utica and bring everybody to Utica up.
Maybe. We'll see. Again, we don't want to. It's hard not to jump to conclusions already, but this is a really good team in Boston. Again, the back-to-back. I don't know how many times we've said it again this podcast. It's kind of getting old that we do have to keep saying that. And the goaltending. This team did look like a different team from last night.
Yeah. They definitely did. And let's see what happens, Scotty. Well, let's see what happens.
They got a little break. Lindy's got to get himself, pull out some new tricks. We know the gambler. So I hope he's got an ace or two up those sleeves that he can pull out once this team gets to practice so they can show some new looks out there on the ice. The power play showed some over the past couple games. Let's see about the 5-on-5 play.
Lindy, if you're listening right now, because I know you listen to this podcast, I'm for hire. Send me a cameo, and yeah.
Sam Wu motivational speeches for hire.
Yeah, but the business video version, that's $1,995 on my cameo.
And then we'll start reading off comments from all of our listeners on YouTube and Facebook. And, pay attention.
Yeah.
So get him ready. A tale of 2 Devils teams in a back-to-back. Very nicely done, Selecta. It's very true.
It is true. But in
Ronaldo,
the playoffs, you don't play back-to-back usually. It's very rare.
You don't play back-to-back in the playoffs, but you got to get there first.
Yeah.
And like I said, this team cannot go 1-14-1, in the 16 games that are the second half of the back-to-back this season.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for missing the playoffs. They have to figure this out. And I know it's tough, guys, but you can do it. You're professionals. You're damn talented. Lindy, you've gotten us through some tougher times. Last year at New Year's, I was calling for your job. This year, I'm going to try and remain patient and see how it goes. I'm going to take the words of the woo. We know where there's a woo, there's a way.
Is that part of your motivational,
That's part of the motivational speech, yeah. So let's see. Again, they have almost like a replay of this week with the game against the Caps and then 2 back-to-backs. So you're going to get that opportunity to start creating that, like Selecta said, the 2 tails. You're starting to get to tell a new story now. And maybe the second half of the season, it'll be a strong point, the second game of a back-to-back. And the home games. There's a lot of things for this team to work on. We'll see how it goes, but we should wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Been a ton of comments out there. I mean, we usually always get a lot of comments, but I wasn't sure how it was going to go today on a Saturday after this, 5-2 Devils loss, but you guys showed up for a full 60. So I can't thank you enough for, this calendar year of Devils After Dark broadcasts here on the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. It's been an amazing year, and hopefully we're looking at a better second half come in 2024. We got a lot of fun things lined up. Don't forget that outdoor game. We're going to have our big tailgate and everything like that. I'm going to be back NJ side, so I hope to see a lot of people out there in the Giant Stadium parking lot having a good time, drinking some Man Crew brews. We're playing some music. We'll be having some interviews. We'll be drinking some beers, making you some food. It's going to be a lot of fun at that outdoor game. So we have some good things lined up for you. I'll be excited to see everybody. And I'm going to say, I know Sam Wu's going to hate hearing this. Just remain patient. Just be patient.
Oh, I thought you had to be patient. I thought you were going to say the C word. I thought you were going to say the C word.
No. I say be patient for a little bit longer. But this leash is getting really, really short. And I think these next 3 games, if it goes downhill, there needs to be some serious changes made. That's just my opinion. And I may be thinking too much as a fan. I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking objectively as enough.
I have a different opinion. I'm all about 2025. I think this team is ahead of schedule. I think, you've already signed the extensions of Tom Fitzgerald and Lindy Ruff. So their jobs are not on the line. Right now, they're just going through the process, trying to figure out the goaltending situation, letting Nico Dawes play, and have Schmid down, or up in Utica. And let's see how this thing plays out, Scotty. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom amongst the fan base, but they're right in the mix. It's just a matter of this team coming together, and the only concern I have is they don't stick up for each other. Like, they don't stick up for each other like they should. And to me, that's a problem. Because if anybody hits Nico Hischier, the entire bench should just drop the gloves at that point. Because it's disrespectful, and other teams are not respecting, your team out on the ice. So, but I could go on and on about that, Scotty, as this is our last Devils After Dark in 2023. We had a lot of memories, a lot of winning memories, presented by Ant Crew Brew, where we make winning memories together, one crew at a time. And we look to make more as we're approaching 800,000 downloads, which is remarkable. We could hit 1 million sometime in 2024. Thank you for all the downloads. Thank you for all the views, comments, questions, all that. Lots of things happening. Can't wait to see you at Rangers Suck Fortune Cookie Night with Christoph Olawa, January 6th at American Whiskey. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you to everybody. Till next time, let's go Devils.